Hello, this is Megan Berger. I am your child's Algebra 2 teacher, and I wanted to catch everyone up on what we went over on Back to School Night in 2017. Whether you were here or if you couldn't attend, I wanted to make sure that everybody had this information available to them. The first thing we went over was who I am. I am Mrs. Berger. I am a career switcher. I spent 17 years in telecommunications after getting my mechanical engineering degree from Virginia Tech and in my MBA from GW. I live in Sterling with my husband and 3 boys. My full bio is available on my staff page. If you were to go to the school's website and go to the staff section and click on my name, you'll see all the information there. Also, if you click on your child's class over here, it'll take you to the vision resources, and we'll see that in a moment. We talked a little bit about how I apply my time in the workforce to math education. I talked to the children about, what Algebra 2 can do for them out in the workforce. Obviously, all math classes help them with problem solving, assessing the problems, reviewing the tools, applying and checking their answers, but also making fact-based decisions, reducing or at least removing the impact of emotion and starting from a fact-based approach. In this class, as well as several other math classes, they will work on modeling and predicting the future, which I told them bosses always love if you can tell them what's going to happen in the future. You start with a mathematical model. We'll talk about functions, cubic functions, square root functions, and if some kind of data or trend is following that function, you can predict the future. Finally, I talked about the attention to detail. Walking in the room, you may have great attention to detail. You're going to continue to develop that here. Maybe you don't have great attention to detail. You're going to want to enhance that. We definitely talk about kids that are math impatient. I tell them, take some time, think about the question that you're answering. Don't rush to the end. Put some attention to detail on there, and you'll get there. Have patience. I constantly tell them, there are so many times in my time in the workforce where I was the only one with attention to detail and was rewarded for it, whether it be a promotion or some kind of bonus. Employers like attention to detail because very few people have it. Sometimes it resonates, sometimes it doesn't. This is where our children are right now. So they have taken Algebra 1. They have taken and passed geometry. They may have taken a stop-off in FADA, which is another class I teach, to strengthen their algebra skills before hitting Algebra 2. So they could have come straight from geometry, or they could have come from geometry to the FADA class into Algebra 2. After they leave Algebra 2, they have a couple of different options, and we'll talk about those in the second semester of the year with them. If they are rocking it out in Algebra 2 and doing fantastic, they're going to head to pre-calculus. If they need some extra help in Algebra 2 to strengthen those skills and build a better foundation, they'll go to advanced functions and modeling before going to pre-cal. And if they decide, you know what, I don't need any more algebra or calculus-based instruction for what I'm going into or my major, or I've talked to my university and I don't need that path, they have the option of taking some electives, computer math, or probability and statistics and discrete math. This is an SOL class. Algebra 2 SOL test is taken in May. I do tell them at the beginning of the year this is a no-joke SOL, not to scare them, but to explain why the quizzes and tests in this class are as hard as they are. We have a goal in mind, and that is to prepare you for this test so that you can ace it. These are the topics that we cover: expressions and operations, equations and inequalities, functions and statistics. It's the same things that you and I learned about when we were kids in Algebra 2. The materials for the class, all of the guided notes in practice are printed, stapled, and 3-hole punched, as well as a soft copy posted to Vision. So the first thing I want them to have is a 3-ring binder. It's not like when we were in school, we had to bring our textbook, our graph paper, our pencil, our lined paper, our binder. All I want for them is to come to class prepared with their 3-ring binder that's got their guided notes already in the binder. Additionally, definitely want them to bring pencils and the graphing calculator. From here on out, they will be using a graphing calculator, especially if they're going into calculus-based math. The TI-83 and TI-84 family of calculators are what we use. The one depicted here is the thicker one. There's also a thinner one that's available. This calculator does not need to be brand new. It does not need to have a color screen. It does not need to be the color blue or pink. Anything from the TI-83 and 84 family will work. You could pick up several used ones off of eBay, Craigslist. A lot of kids are offloading these calculators after they're finished with them. So definitely a huge resource for the kids. I do only have 10 calculators in our classroom, so I don't want a child to be waiting for a calculator while they're taking a test. Let me know if you have questions about the calculator. Prepared for class. Each day in the grade book, I put in a grade for their independent practice or their homework from last time. That grade is either a 2 out of 2 for completing their independent practice on time, a 0 out of 2 for showing up to class having not even attempted the practice, or a 1 out of 2. They weren't prepared the day it was due, but they came back and completed the independent practice late, but before review day. This is in the grade book already, and you can take a look. The independent practice, as well as the guided notes, are available on our Vision site. The Vision site is for the entire Algebra 2 team of all the teachers. And as you can see, the kids go day by day. They can find a blank copy of notes, and then the key for the notes. When you open the key, it's not just the answer is 1/4. It shows how to work the problem. And we sometimes show a couple of different ways to work the problem. So that should be their first stop for assistance. If they've done the homework, attempted it, checked it with the key, and still have questions, they should come to class with those questions so that I can work those questions on the board the next day. Grading. Grading scale for this class is pretty typical. It should be what you've seen. The independent practice, like I said, it has 0 weight. This is not an impact on their report card, but it's really how we can communicate about what they've been completing. School policy, if by the end of the quarter they have a grade below 50%, we do floor that grade to a 50% per our policy. I hope that won't be a problem in this class. I'm sure everyone's going to have above that. Makeups and retakes. So the reason we want to keep track of when they're doing their homework and when they're not is so that they can be eligible for retakes. Anything that's a formative assignment, we want you to finish within 2 class periods of returning from an absence. Summatives, we want you to complete within 2 rock blocks of return from absence. Qualified test retakes, we're going to want to get you those done in 4 class periods of the original test date. Go ahead and work with me if any of these dates don't work. The policy on the retakes. If you have 1s and 2s across the board on independent practice, you are able to replace your quizzes with your test grade. For instance, if you got a 70% on a quiz, but 100% on the test, and you've done all of your homework, you have 1s and 2s across the board for all of your independent practice, then you can replace that 70% on the quiz with the 100% that you earned on the test. Also, for test retakes, you are eligible only if all of your independent practice is complete. If you retake your test, let's say you got an 80% the first time and 100 the second time, you can replace that 80 with 100. However, if you retake your test, you had an 80% the first time, and then the second time you got a 70, the 70% is your new grade. You will not retake your test, even if you have all your homework done, you won't retake your test until you've sat with me in a rock block and gone through what you got wrong. So we make sure we don't make the same mistakes twice and hopefully improve the grade. We talked about extra help. So the first place they should go is the keys on Vision. The second place they should go is me in class the next day so that they can ask what they still don't understand. If that doesn't hit the mark, we can also ask for a rock block pass. So before they leave my class, after we go through the lesson, they ask for a rock block pass to come see me for extra help in rock block. If that doesn't work or we need more assistance, I'm available before school every morning starting at 8:05. So I could sit here for an hour and 10 minutes with the kids working through math if they wish. So before school, 8:05, no appointment necessary. Wednesdays, teachers staff a math lab in room 1213. The child does not need a reservation. They just show up in room 1213 after school on Wednesdays, and work from 4:15 to about 5 until the activity bus runs, and get any of their questions on Algebra 2 answered by the teachers in there. Outside of these options for extra help, I hesitate to offer after school. I do have 3 children, and it is a lot to tackle after school. That being said, that doesn't mean that you can't come see me. I just need a little more heads up. So if you do need to see me after school, make sure that you give me at least a couple days heads up so that I can care for anything that might be going on in our family, and we can take care of that after school assistance if none of these work. If a parent needs to contact me, email is absolutely the best way to initiate that conversation so that we can set up a time to talk more or answer questions on email, whichever works for us. So initial contact, please just shoot me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Our school policy is for me to contact home when students have a D or an F in the class. I usually take a look at the grade book about halfway through each quarter, every 4 or 5 weeks into the quarter, and see how kids are doing. If they do have a D or an F at that point, I start compiling a message to you saying, hey, we're not doing so great. Here's what I've been seeing. Here's the summary of the homework that's been completed, the quiz grades, any other things that I might be seeing. So here's some information for you, Mom and Dad. Go ahead and take a look at this and let me know how you want to move forward. If you'd like to have a conversation in real time, just let me know what time you want me to call. If you'd like to chit-chat with your son or daughter first and go from there, certainly just let me know. Anything's open, however you want to move forward with that. But I want to give you as much information about what might be going into that D or F as possible. And maybe it's not obvious to me why they have a D or F, so let's start that conversation. Maybe there's something else going on in their lives that we need to address. Positive calls, so definitely also want to call home when things are going great, and or send the postcards home highlighting some great behavior going on in the class or some great achievements going on in class. So those should be coming home as well. If behavior becomes a serious problem, I do have what I call the pink form. That will be very, very clear and obvious. Will clearly outline the behavior problems that are going on. The children actually sign a statement about what happened, and we'll send that home and initiate conversations with you. So far, so good. Haven't had any pink forms yet, so we should be good. Any questions, please feel free to send me an email or send a note in with your child. I am absolutely happy to talk to you at any time about how things are going. So far, the year has been going great, and I really look forward to having a great time with the kids this year. Do let me know how things are going for you.